The 95th Academy Awards are a couple days away. So Connor and I are going to have some fun, do a little Oscar related tournament by having a Best Picture winners tournament. I can't wait. I'm going to try to break Connor as we speak. I'm Austin Johnson,
I'm Connor Eyzaguirre.
and this is FILMGAZM. Welcome to the start of a very new phase for our team. We're super excited to be here today. This is what we're calling, I think, phase 3 of the FILMGAZM podcast, of FILMGAZM Productions as a whole. Back in, the about a decade ago, 2014, Connor and Caleb Leger, the guy who hosts Beyond the Bad and is going to continue to work with us a ton on this new endeavor. They kind of started this thing like a website, filmgazm.com, a way to just kind of pour their thoughts out about movies, share that passion that they have as they're, approaching their 20s, and that's really cool, right? You get that feeling of, oh, me and this guy, we're creating something together. And then over the years, they've collected a team of people to join them in this endeavor. And I'm one of those people. In 2018, Connor and I started to kind of record episodes together. He allowed me to, write reviews for the website. And then in 2020, I started my own show where Connor and I were talking about Oscar-nominated movies. Caleb got to start his own show. He brought his friend on, Josh, who has been a huge contributor to a lot of our FILMGAZM episodes. We brought in Colton. Isabel has basically started her own show with you. We've brought in all these different, characters, different perspectives, and now we're kind of trying to figure out what's the best way to use all these weapons, use this crazy arsenal of movie lovers that we have. And I think we found it. I think this is what we're supposed to be doing. So I'm excited to be with you, man. Me and you. This is kind of going back to square one for us. We started recording proper FILMGAZM episodes 4 years ago. And man, we've come a long way, but I'm ready to properly begin this phase of FILMGAZM.
Oh, dude, I'm psyched. You had mentioned before we started recording that you were a little nervous, and like, yeah, I get, I'm a little, I got the jitters for the first time in a long time, where I'm like really pumped to start from scratch and really, kind of find this again. And, I'm incredibly grateful to everybody who's become a part of this over the years, and like the friendships I've gotten out of this. And I wouldn't have it any other way. This has been pretty much the bulk of my 20s has been FILMGAZM.
Yeah. I mean, shit. Yeah. At this point, I know Caleb's a little older than us. Josh is, a few years older than us. Then, you and I are the exact same age. We're both 28, and we have definitely served a lot of time to doing this, and we don't want to stop. We want to be doing this until we can't anymore, till the wheels fall off. But we felt like it was time to shake everything up, consolidate. And we've said so many times on so many of our shows, when we're talking about genre films, we always say less is more. And it's kind of silly that it took us this long to put that to practice. So from here on out, you can expect like straight up banger episodes all the time. It might be once a week, might be twice a week. The max will be 3 times a week, but that'll be pretty rare. That'll be when we're all like clicking on all cylinders. We're all available to do episodes. We don't want to push people to be available. We want them to be available. So this is going to be better for everybody. Everybody gets to kind of come up with their own ideas for episodes. If someone wants to do a massive, John Carpenter top 10 movies, we can do that, just at the drop of a dime. We can do that when we want to, when we're ready to. We don't have to put it on a calendar. We don't have to set an exact date. We just do it when we're ready. Today, because it's Oscar weekend, it's the 95th Academy Awards are in 2 days, March 12th, going to be hosted by Mr. Jimmy Kimmel himself. I'm super stoked for it. Last year, Connor and I were like, oh, dude, we should try to watch every fucking Oscar-nominated movie And we started doing that, and my God, I'm burnt out. I don't want to do it anymore. And the one that broke me, the movie where I was like, what the fuck am I doing? Was Blonde, the quote unquote Marilyn Monroe movie. I was watching it. It's like almost 3 hours, and I was like, what am I doing? I don't want to watch this, but here I am sitting through the whole thing just so I can cross it off a list. We both have been like, nah, man, we can't be doing that anymore. That's part of something that pushed us to do what we're doing now with the podcast, though. We shouldn't be doing that ever. We shouldn't be watching things because we have to. We want to watch them because we want to, because it's something that it's like a passion that just keeps burning, and you like I want to see that movie for the first time, or I want to rewatch that movie because I love that movie, and we're gonna continue to roll with that. So I'm loving kind of the attitude we're getting from everybody. You guys talked about it a little bit on the final old Filmgasm, Freddy vs. Jason 2003. I loved the things that Caleb had to say about it. Just kind of like it's going to be kind of a breath of fresh air for us and for our listeners. So we hope you guys stay on board with us. We'll still continue to have content every week. We will have something for you guys.
Yeah, for sure. My ultimate goal with this new phase is basically I never want to force a conversation again. I want everything to be organic, and I want everyone to want to talk about what we're talking about. And we have had so many situations with our other shows just because of the way it turned out, where we had to create something from nothing, and you could tell that our hearts just were not in it. And that sucks. It sucks for everybody. It sucks for you guys. It sucks for us. And I don't ever want to do that again. I want to have vibrant, exciting, memorable, fun conversations every single time, or why the fuck are we here?
Yeah, exactly. Caleb mentioned we all have jobs, like day jobs. We all have like our own lot. We all have our own shit going on. Connor's in the middle of his thesis thesis that he's doing, and that's a big fucking moment in life. Caleb and Josh and Colton they all like serve our country, so that's a big deal. I think Isabel's also in the middle of doing school stuff as well.
She's writing a thesis as well, which is way more intense than the one I'm writing. Nothing but respect for what she's doing right now. Admiration through the roof. And then there's you, who has way more responsibilities than all of us.
I mean, my job allows me to be very comfortable. All right, I know what I'm working. I know what hours I'm working. But I'm married, and I have a 4-year-old daughter which is weird. She's 4. Filmgasm's 4 years old as far as the podcast goes. She's been here the entire time. Occasionally, I'll have to fucking kick her out of the room, while I'm recording, and I imagine that won't stop as she gets older. But I've been growing up with Filmgasm while also she's been growing up as a human being. So it's like I can kind of watch both of these things just flourish, and they're both like my babies. It's cool.
That's wonderful.
I got my real kid and my wacky kid that like is always changing and is like already a teenager and is like, fuck you, I'm doing what I want now.
That's awesome. A really rewarding part of all of this has gotten to watch you become a father and a husband, and just it's been exciting. Like I can chart, like you have the most growth as a human being through this whole thing. It's crazy from day one to now. Like holy shit.
Yeah, I've definitely become a different animal. I mean, because of what we've done, you and I, as far as we're working together at Draft House. Started talking about, I think the first few things we talked about were like the Coens and of course like Tarantino and different filmmakers we like, and we just kind of were, oh wow, okay, like we have a lot in common, and this is gonna be a friendship, and we enjoyed kind of having the same perspective while at work, where like we didn't take it too seriously, but we also took a little bit of pride in being movie fans working at a movie theater, whereas most people seem to not really give a shit about it. It was more of a paycheck for them. We had a passion that we both like understood, and we wanted it to take pride in, and then started seeing movies together and hanging out. And then you're like, dude, like me and you, we should record together. We should, there's too much going on in this conversation. And it became easier and easier as time has gone. and then we've just become good friends. We go do other things together. Recently we saw a comedy show together. Not that long ago, we went to a concert together. And you were in my wedding. You were one of my groomsmen because of what started here. So it's pretty cool. Like those are pretty core memories, right? That kind of stay with you. So we've seen countless movies together at Draft House, old movies. We went to Los Angeles together about a year ago to go see Tarantino's theater and go see the Academy Museum. And I mean, fuck, man, like that's cool. That has formed out of this. We're not just like podcast buddies. We're real life brothers, real life friends. That's a big part of why this works.
Oh, it's fantastic. It's been a ride, a very memorable, incredible ride, and I'm eternally grateful that I met you. Really,
fuck yeah, me too, man. And when it comes down to it, we both get just as jazzed for like silly stuff, for silly projects. And today I have something set up. We haven't done one of these in a while. Occasionally on Oscar Sunday we would do something like this, but it's been a minute, and nothing has been as ambitious as this one. The Best Picture Winners Tournament. I want to have some fun and highlight some movies that are fucking kick ass before this 95th Academy Awards happens in a couple days. I want to talk about some Best Picture winners from the past that we both really, really like. I tried to really pick ones that you like are gonna have a hard time. Last night when I was making the bracket, I was like, oh, I'm gonna fucking just break him. Like this is gonna be good. Some of these matchups are fucking bonkers. So I chose 16 movies. I have them kind of divided by kind of a more modern class of movies, and then the other side of the bracket's a more like older. So on one side we go from 1991, you can guess what that is, to 2019, you can guess what that is. And on the other side of the bracket we go from 1934, sure you can guess what that one is, all the way to 1979. I think 1979 is right. Yeah, 79. Sorry, the other side of the bracket is 1984 is the oldest one. 2019 is the newest one. Other side, 1934 all the way to 1979. So they're divided into two classes of older films and newer stuff. And I can't wait to see which way you go with these, because it's your vote. It's your vote only. I will give my input, where I want to, but like I love all these movies. They all have a right to be here, in my opinion. Of course, I have my like favorites. I left out some of my favorites because it's your vote. This is Connor picking between Titan versus Titan. So I'm super stoked to do this. We're going to be doing more stuff like this. This is why we changed what we're doing, is to have more projects like this where we're not honing in on just one film, but having more of a big picture type discussion and just having fun with it. So this is what we're kicking off the phase 3 of FILMGAZM with. If you have any thoughts or things you want to say before we get started, now's your chance.
I'm excited to see what you've picked. Making hard decisions has always been interesting when we do stuff like this, and I always think I'm going to go a certain way, and then I start talking about it, and sometimes the opinion shifts ever so slightly in favor of something else, and you never know. So bring it on.
Yeah. So I think the first time we did this was a long time ago. I don't remember the number of the episode. I just know it was a long time ago. Like 100 episodes ago from Oscar Sunday's perspective, right? We did a Best Actors Winners Tournament, and Elmer Gantry, Mr. Burt Lancaster, won that. And I was blown away because as he just started knocking out heavy hitter after heavy hitter, I was like, holy shit, I kind of feel the same way. We both were just really rocked by that movie. And 1960s got some really cool movies, but Elmer Gantry's one we both just totally connected with and were floored by what Lancaster's doing in that film. And so he won that. We did a Best Actress Winners Tournament. I just cannot remember who won. I remember having like these really cool matchups, like Olivia de Havilland versus Ingrid Bergman, and we were both like, oh, this is so cool, but I can't remember who won that. That was a long time ago as well.
I remember that too. I want to say It might have been Katharine Hepburn who took that at the end of the day, but I am not 100% on that.
Yeah, me neither. I just know this is like right up our alley. We love doing stuff like this. So expect more projects like this, whether it's a draft or if it's Connor and I, we can do these tournaments because it requires just one vote to get a movie to move on. So that makes it easy and fun where I can chime in, but my vote just it just doesn't matter here. This is Don Khan. Don Khan making his picks. And at the end of the day, at the end of the episode, we will have a champ. We will have what I think would be Connor's all-time best picture winner. That's the whole idea, right? Do you think, before we get started, the last thing I'll say is the 95th Academy Awards. Are any of these movies, any of the ones that are up for best picture, are any of them to you all-timers? Like if Everything Everywhere All at Once wins, which is that's my prediction for sure. If that wins, is that like an all-timer to you, or is it kind of in a tier below, or you know what I'm saying?
I think it's too early to tell. I don't think I don't know if any of these movies are going to have the longevity that a film, any of the winners that we're going to talk about today have.
Yeah.
It's going to take a few years to determine that. But off the bat, I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, I love that. I'm similar in the way that I think it takes 4 or 5 years to properly say, all right, this is where this movie belongs. It has this rewatchability about it. It has this never-ending discussion about it. I think that's a great answer. I do think it'd be really cool if Everything Everywhere All at Once took the win, just because it's kind of been just sweeping all these different award shows, and it'd be cool to see it kind of end its run properly. And I truly, deep down, gun to my head, I think it's going to. I think it's going to win a bunch of stuff. So I'm excited. I'm excited for Sunday, man. Me and you'll be hanging out watching that together. So, this is all in the Oscar spirit. So let's see. First matchup. I'm going to get just kind of random here. Let's go to the old side first. Get our brains moving a little bit. We have a 50s matchup, 50s versus 40s matchup here. So the best picture showdowns that we used to do on Oscar Sunday, rest in peace. There was one time we did 1945, and we both watched The Lost Weekend for the first time, and we were both pretty moved by it. I wanted to include it in this tournament because we had that moment together of like, oh my God, this is a damn good movie about kind of alcoholism, like it kind of hits some stuff that movies now don't even hit on. I matched that up with 1954 On the Waterfront, another movie we've covered a long, long time ago. Fantastic movie. If you're into Marlon Brando at all, this is kind of where I'd point to for some of his very best stuff. What do you got, man? This is a tough matchup.
Yeah, two classics, two ahead of their time classics. Well, let's start with The Lost Weekend.
Yes.
Yeah, this is a film about a writer struggling with alcoholism and suicidal thoughts and ultimately losing. And he's Ray is it Milland or Milland? I don't remember. I think it's Milland.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Sure. He's amazing in this. It's a performance for the ages, and he never really did anything else that high profile again. Whereas Marlon Brando and On the Waterfront, this was kind of the moment where everyone realized, holy shit, he's here to stay. And that was his first win for Best Actor. And I think between these two films, I think On the Waterfront has more rewatchability. It's a little bit more optimistic, a little easier to handle than a film like The Lost Weekend, which is very bleak. And just, if you're depressed, don't watch The Lost Weekend.
Yeah, it's rough, real rough.
Yeah. So I am going to give it to On the Waterfront. I think that's a more enjoyable experience and just a solid, fuck the establishment kind of movie.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Directed by Elia Kazan, just absolute legend. It's just one of those films you have got to see. You just have got to see this one. Whether you're an Oscar fan or not, it's something to behold. And if you like boxing movies, I do think this is kind of a unique take on a boxer. It's not fucking Rocky, but it's super super dramatic about a guy who's kind of figuring himself out, and it's got a clear enemy. You got a clear guy you don't like, and you feel like you know exactly where you're supposed to be while watching it right away. Like you said, the rewatchability of it's just kind of a certified classic. The Lost Weekend might be a little bit more of an acquired taste, but it is directed by the great Billy Wilder and has some awesome stuff in the screenplay written by Charles Brackett and Billy Wilder. Just absolute incredible duo when it comes to writing stories and bringing them to fruition. So I love this matchup just on paper, just kind of like, wow, it's two awesome movies that kind of represent their decade really well. But I kind of had a feeling you'd go with On the Waterfront. It is one of those that you just kind of have to check out if you're a cinephile.
Yeah, absolutely. On the Waterfront is basically Rocky if he decides to go, give up boxing and become a full-blown loan shark enforcer. And, that's what happened. Brando eventually is like, the whole "I could have been somebody" speech is him saying, I could have had something of my own. I could have been a contender. I didn't have to do this shit. And it's very, in your face, and it's unforgiving. And it's, at that time, you didn't have a lot of films that went to those places. And when you got one, you just held on to it.
Yeah. Oh man, it makes me want to rewatch it. I haven't seen it in a long time. So if you haven't seen either of those movies, please give them a go. I'll also say before we get to the next matchup, if you want to give yourself a really good double feature from 1945, watch Mildred Pierce as well. That's a fucking sick Best Picture showdown between those two movies. You can skip the rest if you want to just go with those two. Those are the most quality from that year. That's an absolute race. We had so much fun talking about it. That was not that long ago, a few months ago probably, and we both had a blast. So, all right, good stuff. On the Waterfront moves on to the next round. Let's go to the other side of the bracket, the more new side. I've got a really, really fun matchup here. I think I know where you're going to go again, but it's just fun to talk about because you got, one of the most, three of the most important American filmmakers of all time. You got Martin Scorsese's The Departed from 2006, and you got the Coen brothers' No Country for Old Men from 2007. This is a badass matchup right here.
Oh, that's not fair. Oh boy.
Let's go.
Okay. The Departed is an awesome movie. It's not quite Scorsese's masterpiece. It does feel a bit like a, late to the party kind of prize, which is unfortunate because it's a great movie, but it's overshadowed by the fact that Scorsese should have had this 20 years ago.
Yes.
But you've got, Jack and Leo and Matt and Mark just fucking each other the whole time. It's a great cast. It's a great story. It's Boston crime at its finest. And it's enjoyable as hell. On the other side, you've got the Coen's darkest movie and one of the most epic Texas crime thrillers ever made. No Country for Old Men is just gold. And the more I watch it, the more I see things in it that I didn't see before. The more I feel for certain characters, the more I'm like, oh, why'd you do that? And, I love The Departed, but I don't ever feel myself asking those questions. So I'm going to go with No Country for Old Men.
Yeah, I kind of figured that would be the discourse there. Departed's good. No Country's fucking great. It's one of the, in my opinion, one of the all-time like American movies. Every performance is lights out, and it has this proper hierarchy of you being kind of Tommy Lee Jones, yeah, this is built for him. Like this is the kind of movie that's built for him. But for like Josh Brolin, you're kind of like, God damn, like I didn't know he had that in him. Javier Bardem, for a lot of audience members, was like, whoa, who the fuck is that guy? Then you have like little stuff like Woody Harrelson over here. It has the proper hierarchy of being impressed by people, being having the exact feelings you think you were going to have with like someone like Tommy Lee. The Departed is just an all-star cast. All those people in 2006 were already kind of on the top of the world. You know what I mean? Like you said, Jack, Matt Damon, Leo, they're all they're all just like freaks of nature in their own right already. So it's kind of like it's almost distracting, The Departed.
Yeah.
There's so much, there's too many all-stars. No Country has all-stars in it, but when it came out, you were very impressed. That's when they became all-stars. So I love that about it. And I'm with you. Every time you watch it, you're like, it just kind of keeps checking little things. It's like, oh wow, yeah, this is a masterpiece. This is a true blue masterpiece. Also that year beats There Will Be Blood. If There Will Be Blood would have won, I would be saying the same things about it.
Yeah, that was very much a flip of the coin Oscars where it's like, yeah,
coin flip.
yeah, it's hard to, those two movies are just so perfect together, and we might be doing something about that in the near future now that I'm talking about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was whoever was feeling what on the day. But No Country stands the test of time. It's got the similar vibe to Fargo, but a lot darker, a lot more unforgiving than Fargo. And I remember reading an article that said like Javier Bardem's portrayal of Anton is like the most perfect portrayal of a clinical psychopath ever put to film, which is just frightening. So yeah, that movie has so much going for it. And yeah, like you said, with The Departed, the weight of its stars really is somewhat distracting. Like I'm very aware I'm watching Jack Nicholson be a gangster right now.
Yeah.
And that's great. I love Jack, but like, the scenes where he like whips out a giant dildo just to fuck with Matt Damon, it's like, do we need this? Like that's great, but I mean, is anybody going to say no to this nut job just one time?
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
The
Coens
answer
wouldn't let
no.
him do that shit. They'd be like, no, Jack, put the dildo down. We've got a scene to shoot here.
The Coens and Jack Nicholson just probably wouldn't vibe very well. Yeah. That's great. I love it. Yeah, that's a fun matchup though. Back-to-back years, 06, 07. I love watching both of them, but No Country, like you said, every time you do watch it, you're just absolutely floored by just kind of its tapestry. So love that one. Next matchup, go back to the other side. We got a 70s matchup here. This is where my heart lies. Very, very different movies here. I want to hear just I think because I know you so well, I think I know we're going to go with most of the matchups till we get to the later rounds. But I do like to hear you discuss it amongst yourself, like figure it out in your own brain, and like what you love about both of them. So this matchup is 1972, The Godfather, versus 1979, Kramer vs. Kramer.
Oh God, the most well put together family dramas of the 70s.
There you go. Hoffman and Pacino. Yeah.
Jesus. Oh man. I mean, what more can be said about The Godfather? It's the definitive American film. It's, number one on so many greatest of all time lists, has been since the 70s. And they're all right. I have no bad things to say about The Godfather. It's fucking flawless. Kramer versus Kramer really surprised me and really stayed with me and showed me, a great family drama that deserves to be talked about in the same, breath as The Godfather. It's a brilliant movie and a heartbreaking movie, while at the same time very uplifting about, the decisions that certain characters make for the well-being of other characters. And I never thought I'd see Dustin Hoffman be like so, caring, because all the characters he plays are usually so jaded, but Ted Kramer overcomes that to be a father because he knows he has to. And I love that so much. But it's The Godfather.
Yep.
I mean, how do you not? I mean, come on. From start to finish, that movie is brilliant and continues to be brilliant, and is just a movie you could put on any time and just get sucked in and then feel like, well, now I got to watch part two. And you can stop there. But it's perfect. And I'm sorry, Kramer versus Kramer. it had been any other movie in the 70s, it might have taken it, but it's The Godfather.
Yeah, this is tough, right? I don't know. You just it's good. It's one of those that it's like you mentioned at the very beginning when you start talking about like what more could be said. It's one of those with a Kramer vs. Kramer, you actually have to try to go to bat for it. You have to try to prove your case.
Yeah.
The one thing Kramer vs. Kramer has going for it, two things. It's about half the length of The Godfather. Godfather's pushing, that 3 hour runtime, and Kramer vs. Kramer's about hour and 40 minutes. Love that. This doesn't really matter. 1972, not a lot of competition. You got Cabaret, Deliverance, Sounder, and The Immigrants. Not a great Best Picture group. 1979, you got Apocalypse Now. You got all that jazz. You got Breaking Away, and you got Norma Rae. That's a pretty damn good group that we just talked about not too long ago on our last Oscar Sunday with the China Syndrome. I do love that Kramer vs. Kramer took a tough belt to take. The Godfather was like, who's even gonna fucking swing at me? Like Sounder. Really, are you gonna try to compare Sounder to The Godfather? It's just it's not a competition at all. So I do love that about Kramer vs. Kramer, that it won a tough ceremony. While it doesn't really matter when it's going against The Godfather, it's cool that it did what it did.
I just marathoned the entire Rocky franchise to prepare for Creed 3. And funny you should mention that, because it's like, Kramer versus Kramer is Rocky Balboa. Great movie on its own, great contender, has to prove itself amongst some heavy competition, has to defeat Apollo Creed, or in this case, Apocalypse Now, for that title, and earns it. The Godfather, great movie, much like Mason the Lion Dixon from Rocky Balboa Part 6. He's a great contender, but he only has that belt because there was no contender to go up against him. Everyone else was, a chump. So he's a champion, but they call him a false champion because, like, who'd you really beat to take this? And I love The Godfather, but you're right. No other movie was taking that away no other movie was taking that Oscar away. Cabaret was the strongest contender, and even that was like, it's good, but it's not The Godfather.
Yeah. Whereas The Godfather Part 2 had to beat Chinatown. Oh. It's like, now that's a real matchup.
Godfather 2 is Rocky 4. I mean, holy fuck. That was a fight.
Yeah. There you go. I love that. We'll get to Rocky in a little bit. Let's go to the other side again. This is a fun one. I love both of these movies. For me, it's a total toss-up. I think they're both two of the most complete Best Picture winners of all time. We have 1991, Silence of the Lambs, the first Big Five winner that we brought up so far, taking on 1984's Amadeus.
All right. I like that. Two very different forms of sociopath.
Yes. Yeah, that's what I was going for. Yeah.
Hannibal Lecter versus Antonio Salieri. Amadeus is such a compelling movie about jealousy and just inherent hate of somebody is better than you at something you've worked your entire life for, and that chump didn't do it. Comes naturally to him. I get it. It's a great movie. It's long as shit, but earns that runtime. I mean, you get sucked in. It's a compelling film, and F. Murray Abraham and Tom Hulce are great. They're, I believe, the rivalry. I love their performances, and Milos Forman can never do wrong. He's a brilliant filmmaker. And you got Silence of the Lambs. The first and to date only horror film to ever win Best Picture. Shame on you, Academy. It's a Big Five winner. All five very earned. Hopkins, Foster, Demme, and screenplay, and of course picture. It's another flawless win. I mean, it's another one of those movies I can put on at any moment and just get sucked into and just enjoy and find new things to like and root for different people and be afraid of different characters in moments that I didn't necessarily feel afraid of the first or second or 58th time. It is one of the few perfect movies that earned that award. So it definitely goes to Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. This is this is one of the more kind of random ones I chose, just because I mean, Silence of the Lambs is kind of in a class of its own. But Amadeus, I don't, I don't think it gets the credit it deserves these days, especially with like a younger crowd.
Mm-hmm.
I do think this is also a complete must see if you're into just epic storytelling. And in my opinion, by far the best 80s Best Picture winner.
Yeah, there's not really a contest there. The 80s fucked up almost every single time. I don't know how that kept happening, but yeah, at least he got it right with Amadeus.
Yeah, I got it once, literally one time. They were like, yeah, on the money. So good for them for 1984. But yes, Lambs moves on. I anticipated that. That's that's the way to your heart. Let's see. Go back to the other side, the old side. We got here's a good one. This one I truly don't know where you're gonna go. We've got one movie we covered a long time ago on Oscar Sunday, and then we got a movie that we both watched not that long ago on our own time. 1950s All About Eve versus 1934 It Happened One Night.
All right, that's creative. I like that. It Happened One Night might be single-handedly responsible for every single romantic comedy that came out after it.
Yeah.
And in that case, that movie can go fuck itself. But other than that, it's a great movie.
Yeah, I hear you.
That movie has, like accidentally probably broke a lot of relationships. But I like it. It's Clark Gable and Claudette Colbert as just two people from different worlds falling in love somehow. They always leave that part out of these movies. Like, when was the moment you actually fell in love? And I don't mean because the script told you to. I mean, like, in reality, when did this happen?
Yeah. That's the problem with like romance movies is most of them are, hey, you skipped a few beats there.
Yeah, like page 6, we hate each other. Page 8, I die for you. But like, when did we get there?
Yeah.
But It Happened One Night. I've seen it about 3 or 4 times now, and it's cute. It's funny. It's quirky, and I love Clark Gable as this newspaper man who doesn't give a shit, and meets this heiress who's like, I don't know how to ride a bus, and he's like, well, tough. I've got to call my boss, and yeah, somehow they fall in love. But it won the Big Five, and it deserved them. I think. I haven't seen the competition from 34, but from what I've seen on my own time, I don't think there was much.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
All About Eve surprised the shit out of me. I was not prepared for what that movie was.
Same.
It is so close to being a horror movie, like almost on par with like Fatal Attraction, where it's just one woman completely uprooting the life of another woman. Yeah. And everyone being aware of it, but nobody really doing anything about it because they kind of like the new star. Eve is fun. She's gorgeous. She's sexy. She's smart. And, Betty Davis is yesterday's news. She's mean and callous and nobody really likes her. But that doesn't give you the right to steal her life. That movie is so ahead of its time. There's so many seeds for other films that are hidden throughout that thing. And it really holds up. I like when I watched it, it was about 2 a.m. and my intention was to watch like 20 minutes of it and then go to sleep. I watched that whole damn movie because I couldn't look away. I went from tired to no longer tired watching All About Eve. And when that happens, I know I'm watching something special. So I'm giving this to All About Eve.
Love it. Fuck yeah. For me, it's not close. Like, I like to have it one night. I also think, it's fun. It's cute. It's a must see as far as, that era of filmmaking, where they're figuring out what's going to be the future of it. Directed by Frank Capra, absolute legend. But the Joseph L. Mankiewicz directed All About Eve is fucking incredible, and it rose up my Best Picture rankings so fast after that one viewing. I had something similar happen where it was late at night. I had listened to a podcast where this guy was recommending movies that were on Criterion at the time, and he said, hey, if you have a couple hours, like, watch All About Eve. Like, it's really, really good. It's like it lives up to its reputation and has aged really well. And god damn, he was right. It reminded me of that time we watched Whatever Happened to Baby Jane,
Yeah.
Of course, because of Betty Davis, but also because it's teetering with different genres and it's crossing that line of psychological horror. And I love when old movies do that. I love the effect that they have in All About Eve. Not only is that, but it's got a just masterclass of acting across the board. Incredible screenplay, great direction. Yeah, this is one of my favorite Best Picture winners already, and I've seen it once. So I can't wait to kind of have a life with it from here on out. I'm going to continue to rewatch it and kind of have it around forever. So I love that you voted for it.
Well, I love older films that dip their toe into uncharted territory because so many of the films of that era were, cookie cutter musicals or, something about showbiz almost every fucking time. And
Yeah,
I like when a movie, it's like I'm walking on the yellow brick road, very familiar with where I'm going. I look down for 2 seconds. I look back up. I'm in the dark forest, and I'm like, "Whoa, when the hell did I get here?" And now I gotta adapt. And when a movie can do that, I'm impressed.
yeah, I feel you. I feel you on that, man. Good stuff. If you haven't seen All About Eve, give it a go. Give it a whirl. It'll be worth your time for sure. All right, other side. Let's see here. I'm curious to hear where you go with this. 2003 saw one of the most dominant performances at the Oscars ever. Depending on how you look at it, the most dominant. Won everything it was up for. 11 for 11. Lord of the Rings, Return of the King. Masterclass across the board. Incredible stuff. Taking on 2000's Gladiator. Swords, baby.
Aragorn, son of Arathorn, versus Maximus Decimus Meridius.
Yeah,
I'd pay to see that.
Yeah, me too. That you're gonna be watching a guys fight for a long time. Neither one of them are gonna give up.
Oh man, I mean, I have some fierce loyalty here that is not going to be punctured, so I think we know where I'm going here. But I do love Gladiator. It's a fun, exciting, constantly, awesome movie with a ton of epic performances, a great ensemble, an awesome story, amazing score, and some fantastic fight scenes. But Lord of the Rings, I mean, the magnum opus of Peter Jackson and J.R.R. Tolkien, this amazing story of, good overcoming darkness all across the board and just, life winning over death. And Return of the King is the epic final installment where every story arc is tied up neatly with a bow. There's so many moments where you're just like fist pumping. You're like, fuck yes. It's an endless stream of that. And every time I watch it, it's one of those movies that's like 4.5 hours long if you're watching the extended cut, which I always do. And yeah. I don't mind. Like, that's half my day, and I don't even care.
No, not at all. Not at all, man. The reason I put these against each other is because not that long ago, that fierce loyalty was put into question when we did 2002 Best Picture Showdown. Chicago took the win that year. Chicago has no business being in a tournament like this. But that year, I was like, Two Towers all day. Like, what are we doing? And you were like, no, Gangs of New York, actually. And I was like, whoa. What is this? But you did explain that it's kind of the culmination of all three movies that does it for you, with Return of the King being the last one. I know it's your favorite. So I do get it. I just wanted to kind of test it again. Test that loyalty just one more time.
Even in a full podcast reboot, I'm never going to live that shit down.
Oh, no, because I was just, I was rattled, It's like all week I was like, oh, there's going to be this really cool moment where we're both like Two Towers, like, and it didn't happen.
It's either all of them take Best Picture or the last one takes Best Picture. Any other combination would make zero fucking sense.
I think it should be all three. I think Fellowship is my favorite, and I would vote for that. Unless Mulholland Drive was in that category, that's the only way I would vote differently than Fellowship. But 2001, like A Beautiful Mind, cute, I guess, but like no one really fucking talks about that movie. Like it's good. I love Russell Crowe, but like no one talks about it. People still watch the fucking piss out of Lord of the Rings, and talk about it nonstop, including us.
Yeah, fair enough. It's an American classic. I'm sorry, a New Zealand classic, and
Yeah.
a perfect action movie, perfect drama, perfect fantasy. It hits all the buttons of an amazing film and is comfort food to me, straight up.
Yeah, same here. 2003. I don't really know what the real competition is. It's just like they all just didn't have a chance. Like Lost in Translation. It's just like nah, like it ain't happening. Lord of the Rings destroyed that ceremony. Just complete triumph. And I love that about it. I love that it went out like that. So yeah, good stuff. I have a feeling that one's gonna go pretty far here. We got two more matchups left in the first round, and then we'll get down to some more spicy stuff. So last matchup of the old side of the bracket. I had a movie penciled in last night, but then I was thinking about kind of the time we're in, and I'm thinking more about you. I had 1975's One for the Cuckoo's Nest in this bracket, and then I was like, oh man, Creed just came out. Connor likes Rocky like a lot, so let's put Rocky in. Make it a little more intense for Connor. So I wanted to include One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest because it's great. I love it to death, but it's also a Big Five winner. I wanted to have all three Big Five winners in here. I ended up going against that judgment and put Rocky in 1976 against The Apartment 1960.
Interesting. Oh, is that so? We're not seeing Cuckoo's Nest, or is that
Cuckoo's Nest is not in the bracket?
Wow, I'm surprised. That's like your favorite movie from like the.
It's not. It's. I left off. There's no French Connection here. There's no Moonlight here. Some movies that I'm totally obsessed with. I left off because maybe one day we'll reverse this and you can do it for me.
Yes. Now that 100%.
Next year.
Next, yeah. Rocky versus The Apartment. The Apartment, Billy Wilder has proven to be just one of the greatest filmmakers of the 20th century. Everything I've seen from him has been just memorable and fantastic. And Jack Lemmon and Shirley MacLaine just doing their thing, living life, being real people. It's hard to not get sucked into that and just, enjoy the budding of a flawed relationship that's going to benefit two people who need it. I love that, but Rocky, it's one of the, like The Godfather, one of the definitive American films. It's the underdog movie. It's everything. It's the champ versus, himself in a way. And I love seeing Rocky Balboa go from, a loan shark's muscle to a contender, fighting Apollo Creed for the title and going the distance. It's awesome. And it's inspiring. And Sylvester Stallone is a shit actor in everything but the Rocky franchise. He's amazing in all 8 of his performances as Rocky Balboa. You watch like Copland or The Expendables or Bullet to the Head, and you're like, who's this mumbling fool? But Rocky, man, you can tell that's his baby. He wrote and directed almost all of them. He brings just a ferocity and a humanity and a just likable charm to this guy who looks like he could break your face. And that first movie is a game changer for him. It was it's a consistent delight for moviegoers everywhere, and it's still going. Rocky 9, or as we call it, Creed 3, came out last weekend. It was pretty good, but it was missing Rocky Balboa.
Yeah, there you go.
So Rocky gets this.
Rocky takes it. Yeah, that's why I put it in. So I put it in. I know you love that one. I think that was our 3rd or 4th ever Oscar Sunday. We talked about Rocky.
3rd. It was the 3rd. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, because we did Pulp Fiction first. The Five Bloods, Rocky in the bedroom, and damn, what was that fifth? I cannot remember. Dr. Strangelove?
It was either Doctor Strangelove or The Great Dictator.
That's right, Great Dictator. Oh man, we did some fucking bangers to start. Yeah, but Rocky, yeah, I knew it was like so near and dear to your heart. I like it. I like the Rocky movies. I'm not super attached to them. 1976 for me is like one of the best picture groups of all time. All the President's Men, Network, Taxi Driver, Bound for Glory, and Rocky. Like, it's just fucking God. The 70s were just always loaded in these categories. And so for me, I would pick Taxi Driver to win that. That's just the one that I connect with the most. But like All President's Men, man, like holy shit, that's a good movie. And like Network too. Like talk about a fucking roller coaster. So that 70s, man, we could have a whole 70s bracket of Best Picture nominees, and it'd just be Titans going against Titans all day.
Well, now we can. Whenever we want, we can do that.
Yeah, who gives a shit, right? Just rolling with it. Okay, last matchup of this round. I chose two more modern movies because we've been talking about the newest movie we've talked about so far is No Country for Old Men. So I wanted to kind of give a couple more recent ones, a couple from the 2010s. Birdman, 2014 versus Parasite, 2019.
Inarritu versus Bong Joon-ho. That's not fair.
Well, here's the thing. I know exactly where I'd go with this, but if it was the real correct winner from 2014, Whiplash, I would have no fucking clue where to go with this.
I'm kind of glad Whiplash didn't win, because if so, anytime we did one of these and it was here, it'd be too damn predictable. We know what would get the top spot every time. It'd be Whiplash.
Probably. Yeah, that's tough, right? I mean, I don't know. Would it be my favorite Best Picture winner of all time if it would have won? Probably.
Yeah, that movie. See, even now, like it's not even part of this, and it's already dominated the conversation just by being mentioned,
just by being existing. Yeah,
it's gonna come up. It's what it does.
Yeah,
it's exactly our tempo every time. Okay, Birdman versus Parasite. Birdman, we did recently. It's a fun movie. It's a great movie about the absurdity of celebrity and just how crazy the rabbit hole of being famous can go.
Yeah.
Which is always fun to watch. I love Michael Keaton in a comeback role. It's great to have him back in the public consciousness again after being kind of gone for a long time. And watching Edward Norton play himself and be okay with that was just great.
Yep.
And it's a well-written movie, incredibly well shot, some of the greatest cinematography I've ever seen, and a delight. It's a fun movie. But, Whiplash should have taken that. On the other side of this, Parasite won everything it deserved. It got everything it earned, and it stands as one of the most important films to ever win Best Picture because it finally gave the win to a film that was not from the United States. And that opened the floodgates for so much to come. And I'm excited to see what films get recognized and get celebrated because Parasite opened that door. And it is still an amazing tour de force film from Bong Joon-ho. An original, captivating, well-acted, well-written, well-shot masterpiece. So Parasite takes this by a lot.
Yeah, kind of a landslide for me as well. I like Birdman a lot, but yeah, holy shit, Parasite is just something else. And I don't know. This is like something that's been going around, as we approach this current Oscars, the 95th Academy Awards. If Everything Ever All at Once wins, for a lot of reasons, is really cool. It's a very unique film. Got a lot of cool actors that haven't got their due. Michelle Yeoh and Jamie Lee Curtis, like they've always been in the mind, but they've never been at the front. And that's really cool. It's really neat. But it's an American movie about an American family.
Yeah,
dealing with pretty Western type things. Parasite is a Korean film, like straight up filmed in Korea with Korean actors by a Korean dude. It is probably the most important winner of all time. And I love that. Even if you don't adore the film, you just have to really respect the wave that it circulated. That you remember that, like when it was in theaters, people were just like, "Holy fuck!" Like, if you like film, go see this.
Well, I love the like. I don't see how you couldn't like it. Like, it's such a
Me
great
neither.
story.
Me neither.
And
but there are all those fucking haters out there. You go on Letterboxd and there's people who are like doing that whole 1-star bit where they're like, mediocre. And it's just like, whatever. People don't want to. There's always going to be those people who won't admit that something is incredible. That no, not everybody can be right. I have to go against the what people are thinking. I can't stand that.
Contrarians. Oh, I went on a rant on a Beyond the Bad once. I ripped apart. I hate contrarians worse than I hate pretty much anything. You have no identity and you exist only to disagree with people.
Yeah.
Fuck you a million times.
Anyway. Yeah. I'm with you 100%. Like, and I'm not saying like everything that's popular and big is great.
Yeah.
But when something like Parasite, or I think Whiplash is a great example as well, when it's a movie that's not been seen by billions of people, but millions, and like 98% of the people that saw it were like, holy shit, this is one of the coolest things I've ever seen. I do not like that weird backlash of, oh, like, well, you just haven't really seen enough movies yet. I don't really like that. It's okay to be like, this isn't my favorite thing ever. Like Everything Everywhere All at Once, when it came out, I had fun. I had a great time. Great time at the theater. Saw it with, some people that I really care about. We walked out like, that was great. One of the people that I saw it with was like, that was the best movie I've seen in my life. And I was like, whoa, hold your horses. Like, I think you need to wait a little bit to be able to say that. But I'm not going to fucking berate her for it. I'm not going to be like, you're wrong. Like, you don't know what you're talking about. You haven't seen enough movies. I just thought like, whoa, I think you should wait a little bit, maybe see it again before you call it that.
Well, the difference for me, like, if you disagree with something and like legitimately have, reasons, you don't like it, you didn't like the pace, you didn't like the actors, you didn't like the story, couldn't connect with it. Fine. Your opinion is completely valid. It's the people who have nothing to back it up and just disagree for the sake of disagreeing, just because they need to be the smartest person in the room because they don't agree with everybody else. Those are the people who can go straight to hell, do not pass go, do not collect $200.
Yeah. Well said. No, I do love movies that create diversion. Like I love Babylon because it created this movie fucking sucks, and then it created, I was in the camp of like just stroking it, like, yeah, fuck, I love this movie. I love when movies do that. I love when they do that on purpose. I like that kind of in your face, either you're in or you're out. I think we need more stuff like that.
Yeah, like Babylon is a great example. I was kind of down the middle. I didn't hate it, I wasn't stroking it, but I was fondling the balls a little.
Yeah, cupping it. Yeah,
just a little. Yeah, but but yeah, I'm always down for creating conversation, for encouraging discourse. I just want it to be the right kind of discourse.
Yeah.
And with Parasite, I'm just glad that a film that was immensely important to culture was also really, really, really good.
Correct. That's you hit the nail on the head. That's just so special when that happens, when you do have this wave of people like, oh my God, have you seen this movie Parasite? Holy shit, like, it's incredible. You're not going to believe where it goes and the turns that it takes. And it delivered.
Yeah.
And it delivered. And then we had that moment, the kind of the gravy is watching Bong Joon-ho go up there like 5 times to keep accepting trophies. And the attitude that he had, the excitement that he had, when he said, I'm going to be drunk until morning. It's like, man, that's so cool. And then when he quoted Martin Scorsese, who was sitting right there, a guy who directed The Irishman the same year. I love when those moments happen. It's just straight gravy. And like, that's why I watch the Oscars, is because you do get moments like that every now and again.
Well, I love the famous, post Oscars party picture of Bong Joon-ho making 2 of his Oscars kiss.
Yeah.
And this grin on his face of like, oh my God, You can tell the man is on cloud 9 and he hasn't left.
Yeah, no, not at all, man. Yeah, great movie. Parasite's fucking kick ass. Birdman, we like you, but we like Parasite a little bit more. Okay, that's the end of the first round. We have 8 movies left now. Let's go back to some movies we haven't talked about in a minute. We'll kind of go back. We'll finish off with that Parasite matchup. It's got a heavy hitter going against it. All right, here we go. 1972, The Godfather versus 1954 On the Waterfront. Brando versus Brando. Here we go.
Brando e. Brando. Oh boy. Shit, that's good. Yeah, these are the 2 films that won him his Oscars. One of which he refused in a very public way that almost got a woman assaulted by John Wayne.
Yeah.
Assholes. Anyway, it goes to The Godfather. It's just, it's hard to compete with an American classic. And I know, On the Waterfront 2 is an American classic. But The Godfather just has this wow factor that few films ever made have. That, not a lot of films deserve to be called the greatest film of all time, but The Godfather kind of does. Like, I'm not going to disagree with anybody who says that, because it's like, I get it.
Yeah. I'm in the exact same boat. It's probably not even in my top, like, personal favorite movies. It's probably not even in my top 50. But if you're taking away, like, your bias, your favorite, like, your taste, The Godfather just kind of checks all the boxes of what a great movie is all about. Has, the intensity, has the incredible dialogue, has the great family aspect. Everybody's lights out in it. I don't know, man. It might be the American movie, When you're talking about, like, Godfather and Jaws, like, these movies that just changed the course of history with cinema. So yeah, it's extremely, extremely important. Me and you are in the same boat. It's our favorite of the 3, The Godfathers. We love part 1. I didn't want to put part 2 in here because it's like, yeah, we don't need to, we don't need to do that. I like part 2 a lot. I love part 2, but part 1 is just 10 out of 10, like, just completely lights out. I love it to death. So I'm glad to see that it's now in the final 4. Good shit.
Yeah, absolutely. And no disrespect to On the Waterfront. These are all great films.
Yeah. Oh yeah. On the Waterfront's great. Terry Malloy is a really cool character.
Yeah, he's a underdog kind of, dock worker bum you're rooting for, because he's one of the few guys in this movie who chooses actively to do the right thing, which is always hard to do when there's a loan shark on your ass who's threatening you and, just killed your best friend.
Yeah, fucking Lee J. Cobb, man. Johnny Friendly is oof. Great character. Rod Steiger's great in it. Yeah, this is just an awesome movie. So yeah, taking away nothing from it, but giving all the flowers to Godfather while we're here.
Yeah. On the Waterfront, like, it should have been a Big 5 winner because it won everything but Best Actress. But Eva Marie Saint got a supporting actor win, or a supporting actress win, when she should have been lead.
It's basically a Big 5 winner.
Yeah, exactly. It's the forgotten 4th.
Yeah, I love that. We should do that more. Like, I don't know. I think if a movie wins picture, director, screenplay, and any 2 acting categories, I'd call that a Big 5 win.
Yeah,
I just would. Like, I think supporting roles are just as important. They can be, for sure. So I've always been kind of like, let's not be too exclusive with it. I think it'd be cool. I think it'd be cool if there were more chances for Big 5 wins. Just stretch it a little bit.
The way I've always seen it, every category at the Oscars carries equal weight because the statue is exactly the same size every time.
That's true. That is true.
An Oscar is an Oscar, whether it's for best animated short film or best director or best film editing. It's always an Oscar. So it carries weight every time. That's why we did the whole Oscar Sunday show.
Yeah, exactly. All right, man. This is gonna fuck you up. I built this part of the bracket for this. I knew this was gonna happen. I'm so excited. to just see you sweat here. 1991, Sounds of the Lambs versus 2007, No Country for Old Men.
Fuck you. Oh, Jesus.
Woo!
Jonathan Demme versus the Coen brothers. Oh boy. Oh, this is too.
Lecter versus Sugar. Come on, like, woo.
This is a matchup. Oh man. Okay. I've spoken at length about what I love about both of these films, and I gotta give it to Lambs.
Yeah, I knew it. I knew it. You can't take the horror out of a horror fan. You just can't.
Well, I can't. One thing I've learned about myself doing all of these podcasts, I do not have the ability to remove my bias from any of these conversations. I can't do it.
No, and I don't want you to. Yeah, I don't want you to.
It would not be true to myself, and it would not be an accurate representation of my thoughts of the film. It just wouldn't be empty. And I refuse to do that.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, man. It's an episode I remember very fondly. The Lambs one. Me, you, and Caleb did a showdown together. We had a lot of fun, and we always knew Lambs is at the very top. There's not, JFK, love it to death, but Lambs is just this tight, brilliant, brilliant horror film that happens to have three just absolutely all-time characters, like all-timers, all-time performances, and all-time characters that we talk about all the time. So, yeah, I love No Country to death. That'd probably get my vote slightly, but this is a coin flip for me. I don't know, man. I love both these movies to death. So Lambs moves on to the final four. All right, this is going to be interesting. 1976, Rocky versus 1950, All About Eve. A movie you've been watching since you were a kid, going against All About Eve, which we're both pretty new to.
Actually, I watched Rocky for the first time when I was about 16.
Oh, okay. Really?
It just won me over really fast. And yeah.
Me too. I probably saw it sometime in middle school, so not long before you. I was like, well, there's how many of these? Keep them coming, baby.
I think I found like a Blu-ray set at Best Buy that had been mislabeled for like $10, and it had all 6 movies. And I was like, well, all right, sure, let's try these out. So I bought it, and I was like, I watched all of them, and I'm like, fuck, these are great.
Yeah, Rocky 4 is where my heart lies. I absolutely adore that one. So, but Rocky, it's probably the best of like all of the Rocky / Creed movies. Like it's just a fucking diamond. So yeah, but All About Eve, man, it's a great film.
It is a great film. It's a great film about, just never invite somebody into your life so intimately unless you fucking know them. It's like anybody could be anybody, it's, when we first met, I could have told you I was a Russian exchange student and you wouldn't have fucking known any better. Like,
yeah, Russian exchange student who loves The Big Lebowski. Cool.
Yeah, I could have done a fake accent and you'd be like, oh, I like this Russian guy. He's nice. But yeah, it's crazy how quickly we decide, I want that person in my life. And sometimes that can backfire in terrifying ways. And as we see in All About Eve, Ann Baxter knows how to play the fucking game.
Yes.
But she ain't going up against the champ. She just, no, sorry. It's Rocky.
I love it. Cue the horns.
She ain't gonna fly now. She cannot see the eye of the tiger. I'm sorry.
It ain't happening. Is Rocky your favorite of the entire franchise, the first one? Or do you have like a one that you're like really connected to?
I really like Rocky 3. I love Apollo and Rocky becoming friends and working together. And, Clubber Lang is just such a brute. And you see Rocky lost after, he loses Mickey and finds himself again. For me, that's the movie where Rocky becomes a boxer. He knew how to fight, but Apollo teaches him how to box. And that's when we get a fully rounded champion Rocky for the first time. Rocky 3, probably my favorite.
I love that. That's so cool. And with the Creed movies, is one your favorite?
One's definitely my favorite for Creed. I think,
And then between 2 and 3, is it a toss up or?
it's 2 and then it's 3. Like I
Okay,
said,
okay.
3 was good. It was missing Rocky. It just felt incomplete because of that.
Yeah. Well, like the first Creed, I mean, some of the scenes between them two are fucking incredible. So I really like the first one. I also love the first one. The final fight is at Goodison Park in England. Like that's such a cool touch. I've heard the final fight in this new one is at Dodger Stadium between,
Yeah.
of course, Michael B and Jonathan Majors. So I am excited. I want to see it. I just don't know when it's going to happen. It's it's a franchise I like a lot. I mean, of course, I like the Rocky movies better, but um, there's other stuff coming out, in March, like John Wick, that I'm a little more into, that I'm more keen on trying to see opening weekend. But we'll see. I'll try to get to it. I love Jonathan Majors. All right, last matchup of the second round. Can you guess what it is?
I don't want to, but I know.
Yeah, 2003 versus 2019. Return of the King versus Parasite.
That is cruel.
Yeah,
That
it's brutality.
that's not. I thought we were friends, man.
This side of the bracket, just because these are movies we've like really, have been adults.
Oh,
Like No Country versus Lambs, Return of the King versus Parasite is just woof. That is a crazy, crazy group of movies.
oh boy. Okay. Oh boy. Return of the King is one of my favorite movies. It's a great, comfort food, as I said. Parasite changed things. I'm giving it to Parasite.
Oh yes.
Parasite, as a single entity, is a very important, significant film for American film history, and it's held up. It gets better with every watch. I've introduced it to people who've changed their minds on foreign cinema because of this movie, and that means something. That is something I don't want to take out of this. I'm gonna throw bias to the window, and I'm gonna go with Parasite. It feels wrong, but I know it's the right thing.
No, I hear you. I think it's really tough because, like you said, Lord of the Rings is relying on 3 movies that, if you watch the extended version, it's about 12 hours, of your day, and you kind of need all of them to tell the full story. So I get it. I get the kind of the reasoning behind it. I probably would still vote for Lord of the Rings, but I get it. Parasite is a diamond in the rough. So I understand that. I understand that reasoning a lot, and that rounds out our top 4, our final 4. This is a cool group. There's a couple of surprises here. Godfather versus Rocky, and Parasite versus Lambs. Take whichever matchup you want first.
God damn. Godfather versus Rocky.
70s, baby. 70s.
2 American classics duking it out for the title. How perfect.
Yeah.
Oh man. All right. Godfather has more significance to film history. Rocky is just reliable. It's the go-to film for so many people. It's, when you're having a rough day, when you need to be inspired, you watch Rocky. And
Yeah.
Rocky's just unmatched optimism keeps you afloat, makes you think you can do it. Whatever it is you think you can't do it, he encourages you to do it because you can. You got it in you. As he said in part 6, it's not about how hard you can hit. It's about how hard you get hit and keep moving forward. Fucking Rocky.
Yeah. All those things you said, the exact opposite could be said about The Godfather. Like, it's gonna tear you down. It's gonna make you hopeless. It's gonna ruin your day. You're gonna watch fucking James Caan. It's just fucking get lit up by bullets. Like it's such a rough ride. The Godfather movies.
Yeah. What do we get at the end of Rocky? We get, he went the distance and he's, Adrian, I need you. What do we get at the end of The Godfather? Don't you ever ask me about my business.
Yeah. Just fucking shuts the door.
Yeah, just a vibe of like, oh, he's about to ruin her life, and she knows she's in bed with the devil, and she has no way out. With Rocky, it's like, oh, way to go, champ! You did it.
Yeah.
I challenge you to keep a frown on when you're watching Rocky. You can't do it.
Next time I watch it, I'm just gonna video myself like just trying my hardest, and it ain't happening. But God, wow, Rocky! I'm glad I put it in this tournament. It's in the final. I almost didn't have it. I almost had one from the Cuckoo's Nest, 75 instead of 76. Here we are. Rocky going the distance. Rocky took down The Apartment, took down All About Eve, took down The Godfather. What decade is next? Come on. All right, now. What I love about this matchup, Lambs versus Parasite, is the two most gutty genre films that have ever won this award. Lambs is the definition of horror. Parasite has a lot of aspects of horror going for it. So I love that we have these two movies against each other. Two of like the darkest films that have ever been up for Best Picture and won. So love that.
Yeah, I love a good genre bender. And Lambs, plays with drama, it plays with thriller, crime, but at its heart, it's a horror film about psychopaths and what they're capable of. And Clarice Starling is in the midst of this nightmare stuck between a rock and a hard place with two monsters, and having to figure her way through it, while at the same time accept some hard truths about who she is as a person that led her here. It's a great story, great book. I read the book. It's damn close. And I love it to death. Parasite was new and original. I remember seeing the trailer like early 2019 or late 2018. Like I saw a trailer for a while, and it was just like, I don't know what the hell that is, but I'm intrigued. And I wasn't going to see it until you told me, like, dude, you got to see that. And I went after work one day by myself, and I was mesmerized. I was like, this is amazing. What the hell is going on right now? I've never seen anything like this, and I haven't since. I'm giving it to Parasite.
Holy shit. Oh, this is great. Parasite takes the win away from Lambs. I thought when I was making this bracket, I was like, this is going to be fun, but I was like, it's going to be Lambs versus Godfather. No, sir. Parasite versus Rocky, 2019 versus 1976. Two films I almost didn't include in this bracket. With Parasite, it was kind of like, do I include more recent films? Because we both feel the same way about, like, we want to see movies kind of create, a longevity and a rewatchability. But we've talked about multiple times on Oscar Sunday and other shows how much we love Parasite. We did a whole episode based around it. I felt good about putting it in here. Now I feel fucking great about putting it in here.
Yeah. Some films, it doesn't happen often, but you can tell a film's longevity almost immediately if it's really, really good. Whiplash did that. Parasite did that. And I've seen it, I've watched it many times since, and I still feel excited and overwhelmed every time I watch it. And that's powerful. That means something.
Yeah, it truly does. The question is, do you go with the wacky genre bender from out of Korea, or do you go with the classic boxing movie? Like, where's your heart? Where's your heart leading you right now?
If when we started this, I wouldn't have thought I would end up with Rocky and Parasite. I wouldn't have thought that. Oh boy. All right. Rocky has, touched the hearts of many. It's been in my life for a while. I just watched all of them with my family, made some great new memories. Just, it was like we were watching like actual boxing matches, and we were just like, get him. Oh, Rock, get up, Rock. Like we were doing that. And it was like, this is awesome. When I showed my family Parasite, not a word, just glued to the screen, like, and just like in it, involved. And I was like, yeah, I was watching this. I was watching the movie, and I was watching them, and I was watching the movie, and I was just like, this is crazy. And I got to take that shit into account, like what the memories I get from these movies, the the way they impact my life personally. And one of the best memories I have is getting that phone call from you of like, holy shit, dude, Parasite is something to behold. You need to go see that. That was like the first time you ever called me to tell me like, drop what you're doing and like buy a ticket to the next showtime you can right now. And I did. And what the wave of feelings I got from Parasite opened a world to me through, I began to pay attention to Korean film. I became obsessed with Bong Joon-ho, and I started to appreciate foreign cinema more than I had in the past. So I'm going to do the right thing here, and I'm going to crown Parasite.
Let's go. Oh, wow. That's incredible. I love that. I love that so much. The champ. The champ of the Best Picture Winners Tournament goes to Parasite 2019. Bong Joon-ho, masterpiece. Man, that was fun. That was really cool. It was. I remember to this day. I remember exactly what was happening. My oldest brother Adam, who has been on some episodes before, he's been on like 2 or 3 with us. He's a few years older than me, and Connor's gotten to know him as well over time. He on his birthday that year. His birthday's November 9th. I remember he was like, "Hey man, have you been listening to these different podcasts that both of us listened to? They were all talking about this movie Parasite. They're like, go see it. We're not going to say anything about it, but go see it." And I had seen the trailers as well. I was like, this neon film. This looks pretty modern. Looks pretty like up my alley. Kind of wacky. Kind of different and out there. And my brother felt the same way. We went and saw it. Saw it at the Corey Cinema in San Antonio. Never really go there. I've been there. I remember every movie I've seen there because I've only been there, 10 times maybe to see films over the past, couple decades of my life. So when we left the movie, me, my brother, and my dad, we were all like, "Wow, that was fucking powerful." And I just kind of I looked at my brother. I was like, that's gonna win a bunch of shit. Like that was really, really good. Like it's kind of one of those things that can bridge something. And sure enough, it did. That was in November. I called you that night on the way home. I was like, oh my God, this is the kind of stuff we go to the theater for over and over and over, is to like be just struck by something as original as Parasite. And we watched that Oscar ceremony together, right? That was in February of 2020. Right after that is when COVID like really, really started to shut shit down. So one of my last memories of hanging out with people before that was at your grandparents' house, and my brother came over. I believe Brianna was there as well, my wife. And we watched Bong Joon-ho literally just keep going up to the stage over and over. And I remember sitting on your couch, and I was like, please, for the love of God, like finish this night off the right way. Give it to Parasite. Like, come on. Even though I predicted that 1917 was going to win because it just felt like the Oscar type movie to give Best Picture, I was like fucking give it to Parasite. I like 1917, but I fucking love Parasite. Like, please do the right thing here. And they did. They did. And it was the most memorable Oscar moment of my life. And it will continue to be that way if they're going to give out Best Picture to movies like Nomadland and Coda, which don't even fucking hold a candle to Parasite. You know what I'm saying? It's a certified classic. I totally understand your reasoning throughout this bracket. It beat Birdman. It beat Lord of the Rings: Return of the King. It beat Silence of the Lambs, and it beat Rocky. I understand as you kept talking about it, you're like, you know what? I'm going to take the importance of it in my life into account, and the importance that it's had on people to stop having that weird stigma about foreign films. That's so huge. I know a lot of people would be like, "Oh, well, I didn't, I didn't need it to do that for me." Well, fuck you. Some people did, including like my dad, who's fucking 60. When he saw that movie, he was like, "Huh, what else have I been missing?" was like, yeah, exactly. Exactly. You can see a lot more cool art if you get over those couple inches on the screen of words. You'll see a lot of cool stuff. And I love that it won this. Like, that's so fucking cool. I love that Rocky got there to the final. This is the kind of shit we're gonna be doing, man. This is so much fun. I love that the way we started this new endeavor is a tournament where I had no idea what was gonna happen in the end. I thought I knew, and ended up being opposite of what I thought. So good shit, man. I love doing this kind of stuff with you, and I look forward to doing more of it.
Oh man, yeah, this was fun. I love getting to confront, deep-seated beliefs in certain films in myself and really think like, do I still have those beliefs? Like, have I evolved past that, or do I still hold them? And these do that for me all the time. I don't know what the hell I'm going to say. Like, I don't, it just happens. I'm like, you know what? I'm leaning this way today. I have moved past that. I'm embracing this now. This is growth at its finest.
God, well said, dude. I love that. That's really cool because I think that a lot. It's the power of rewatchability is just so real. And the way I want to kind of finish off this episode is, I want to hear a little bit of what you've been watching. It sounds like you've been, you went through the Rocky movies, but recently I rewatched Hail Caesar from 2016.
Yeah.
And I saw that movie in theaters by myself when I was living in Houston. I saw this kind of like rinky-dink theater that was close to where I was living. I loved that theater because it was small. I kind of knew the people that worked there because I would go there every weekend to see fucking whatever. And when I saw Hail Caesar, I was like a little buzzed. I had a few drinks. I was like, I'm going to see a fucking Coen movie. Like, here we go. Let's have some fun. Like, this is gonna be sick. It's either gonna be fun or like I'm about to see Inside Llewyn Davis. Like, I'm gonna be impacted in some way. And I was just fucking confused and bewildered by like what was going on. I had a hard time following the story and what exactly they were trying to say. So I fucking pushed it to the curb, man. For 7 fucking years, I never watched that thing again. Saw clips here and there. I heard other people say like, it's worth re-examining. I finally gave it a shot again. And my God, I fucking love that movie. It has soared up the Coen brothers rankings for me off of that second, that rewatch of like, I know way more than I did 7 years ago about the actual, subject matter. They're doing kind of an old Hollywood thing where you got people who are actors, studio members, studio execs. Like Josh Brolin plays a studio exec and fucking like made me laugh so much during this movie. George Clooney plays like a big time actor, and Scarlett Johansson plays a big time actor, and Jonah Hill pops up in the middle of nowhere. Channing Tatum pops up in the middle of nowhere. It was so much fun. It was like a fucking firecracker just going off over and over and over. And I had a blast. So that movie went from like a 6 to a 9 for me. I just was floored by it. I love it. That is the power of rewatchability. That was kind of something I wanted to end this show with. And I wanted to hear if you've had any experience over the past, couple weeks of rewatching stuff or watching something new that kind of surprised you.
I did actually. I had the reverse happen. I had a movie I thought I liked go down for me. So I've been working for a while now, going through my own personal collection, watching stuff I've either never actually seen or haven't seen in a long time, and reevaluating or evaluating stuff that I have, because I feel like if I own the damn movie, I should watch it. Like that should be a priority.
Yeah.
So I was at first going alphabetically, and I watched The Accused, which was incredible, but a fucking difficult film to get through. Holy hell. Yeah. There's visuals in that film that are going to stay with me forever. And I don't like that. I don't ever want to watch that movie again, but it was great. And so I followed that with some Disney, because that's what you do after you watch Jodie Foster get raped on a pinball machine. I watched the 2 Aladdin sequels. The Return of Jafar and Aladdin and the King of Thieves. I've always had a soft spot for these. I had them on tape when I was a kid. I would watch them all the time. King of Thieves, I think, still holds up. I think that's a fun movie. It's about Aladdin, finding out his father's alive and trying to, save him from his own greed. It's a good movie. Return of Jafar kind of sucks.
Let's go. I love it. Oh.
I loved this movie as a kid. I rented it from our local. There was a gas station near our house in Maryland called GT's, which was like locally owned, and they had a video rental store in the back.
Oh,
I went there about 5, 6 years ago, like to go visit my dad. They still have a video rental store in the back, like
so
tapes. I'm
awesome.
talking.
I love that.
And whenever we go in there, I'd rent something when I was a kid, and I always rented The Return of Jafar because I didn't have it. And I was like, "What? There's a movie where Jafar comes back? Oh my god, I want to see that because I loved Aladdin." So I would watch it all the time. I found it on tape at a Goodwill. Eventually, it was like $2, and I'm like, "Oh my god!" I bought it. I watched it all the time. I loved it. I found a DVD at Half Price Books. I bought it. I shelved it. I didn't think about it. I go back to it. I start watching it, and I'm like, "What the fuck did I see in this?" This is Iago's the main character. There is way too much Gilbert Gottfried in this movie. It's just his screechy ass voice doing songs and shit. It's so horribly animated. Jason Alexander plays an Arab named Abi Small. I mean, come on. And it's just, oh God, it's so short and so meaningless and ridiculous. And I'm like, this is a movie I adored when I was a kid. And now I kind of don't want it anymore.
Wow. I love stories like that too, where you give it the proper critique. You don't just hold on to nostalgia and like, you know what? What was I thinking when I was 7? I was I was an idiot.
Yeah.
uh,
I followed that with a Best Picture winner I hadn't seen yet called All the King's Men, which
yeah.
could have been on this
1940
bracket. 1949.
1949? Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That movie was fucking gold. It was based on the real life governor of Louisiana, Huey Long, who promised a whole bunch of shit to people and then was elected, became a corrupt motherfucker, and was assassinated.
Damn.
And this movie's about a
Okay.
guy named Willie Stark, who's like, your everyman politician wannabe, who's like, I'm going to weed out corruption and I'm going to save all you people. And I'm a hick just like you. And, we need a regular guy in the office to fight this corruption. He gets elected, immediately becomes the most corrupt motherfucker who ever worked in politics. It's like a full blown gangster. And it's just watching his downfall. It's watching a good man become a horrible man over the course of, his own decisions and alienating people around him and cheating on his wife and sanctioning murder and bribes and everything. And you're just like, this guy wanted to help people. And look what happened. And this is 1949. This is heavy shit that this movie's covering. And I was impressed as hell. So All the King's Men, 1949. I highly recommend that.
Oh man, hell yeah. I've always wanted to see that. I still want to see every Best Picture winner just cause you never know what you're gonna get. You
No.
might catch an All the King's Men or All About Eve or a Lost Weekend and be totally floored by it. So still on that journey, still gonna continue doing that when I can, and that's a good shout out. Oscars are in a couple days. I'll be seeing you. We're gonna watch them together and have some fun. Hopefully we get some results we like. People. I encourage people to use this time to kind of do their own Oscar research, find what they like from the Oscars. Watch one of the movies we talked about today. Give All About Eve a go. Give It Happened One Night Ago. Give Parasite a rewatch. I don't know. Have some fun. Watch an Oscar winner, and get ready for Sunday. That's exactly what we're doing, and I can't wait for that. So we'll be doing something. We'll be doing something this week. We don't know what, but we'll be doing something. Just be on the lookout under this feed. We're going to continue to just keep doing FilmGAZM episodes on all kinds of shit. Follow us on Letterboxd. For Connor, it's Connor95. For myself, it's Austin Johnson. You just got to look for the fucking profile picture of Bobby from Goofy Movie, Pauly Shore's character. It's the Leaning Tower of Chisa. That's all you got to look for. 5-star fucking movie, Goofy Movie. Be on the lookout for that. Follow us. We're always putting shit up. We're reviewing movies, making lists all the time. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, at FilmGAZM. Check out the website that you can also listen to our podcast on that site. And keep watching movies. And we'll fucking see you guys soon.